Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. PNP President, first of the two party leaders to be nominated for the September 3 polls. PNP unfavorability ratings adjusted. And later in sports, Mount Pleasant ready for Caribbean Cup on Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kerry Ann Simpson. Here are the details. Nation Day activities are currently being held in parishes across the island. People's National Party President Mark Golding was the first of the two party leaders to be nominated for the September 3 polls.
Obviously, we're now live on television. Jamaica, the opposition leader Mark Golding here. He has been nominated here at St. Luke's Anglican Church. Mr. Golding, your third time on the ticket here in Southern St. Andrew. Formality that you're going to win, talk us through.
Well, I wouldn't say a formality, because I think that would be disrespectful to the voters who have a choice. Every voter has a right to put their X beside whichever candidate they wish. However, I am confident that I will be successful because we have an excellent team in South St. Andrew, and it's a strong political organization. That's the tradition, and I try to maintain that tradition, especially now that I have such wide-ranging national duties. It's very important that I have strong persons behind me. I have two excellent councillors who are here right beside me. And the team as a whole is very good. And we do the work. I'm attentive to it. We communicate via WhatsApp and other ways. And I get into the constituency as often as I can. I expect us to do well.
Mr. Golding, you were very early here today to get the nomination process out of the way. Is that an indication of how busy you're going to be for the rest of the day and going into the rest of the election?
It is. It is an indication of that. We chose to nominate at 10, and we had established this new tradition of starting from the bottom of the constituency, Spanish Town Road, basically, and walking all the way up. And now it's at St. Luke's Church. So we basically traversed the entire constituency. And it was a good walk. It took us 35 minutes. We had conservatively put an hour as the time, but we were quicker than we anticipated.
The RJ Gleaner Communications poll last evening shows your favorability nearly tied with Mr. Holness, Dr. Holness. Your comment on that, do you think Jamaicans are now seeing you in a more favorable light and you're as popular as the Prime Minister?
Well, put it this way, I think Jamaicans are seeing more of me, especially those that don't follow the politics that closely and so on and may not know much about me. Because we're in an election season now, the media is obviously paying a whole lot of attention to what we do, which we like. And more people are seeing who I am, and that has been reflected in the increase. And of course, on a net favorability rating, when you subtract the unfavorability from the favorability, I am significantly ahead of Andrew Holness. So that's a problem for him.
To Clarendon now, Sandy Williams is in northwestern Clarendon.
I'm standing in the town of Frankfield, just meters away from the Frankfield Resource Center, where nominations will be taking place today. Now, moments earlier, the atmosphere was electric. PNP supporters in their orange came out in full force, music blasting and supporters dancing. Now, they gathered here earlier ahead of the nomination for their candidate, former Member of Parliament Richard Azan, who is looking to reclaim Clarendon Northwestern for the People's National Party. Now, the JLP's candidate, Mr. Warren Newby, is set to be nominated at 1 p.m. this afternoon. But earlier this morning, the Jamaica Progressive Party completed the nomination for their standard bearer, Mr. Kevin Palmer, setting the stage for a spirited contest. Now reporting from the town of Frankfield, I'm Sandy Williams for TVJ News.
Let's now go to Western Jamaica, Western Westmoreland specifically. Our reporter Kimberly Petty is there.
Thanks, Kerry. I am here at Gordon Hall in Grange Hill, Westmoreland. So far, we've witnessed the nomination of independent candidate Bilbert Lancaster James and the PNP's Ian Hales. The JLP's Dr. Garfield James is expected to be nominated at 1 p.m. today. An interesting point to note is that all three candidates are new to this seat. However, it is expected to be closely contested between Hales and James. Now, nomination activities have been happening across Westmoreland. Scores of supporters from the JLP and PNP have been flocking the venue. What we've noticed is that quite a number of independent candidates are being nominated here in Westmoreland. But I'll have further details in subsequent newscasts. It's back to you in studio, Kerry.
Thank you, Kimberly. Now our reporter Kirk Wright is in Eastern St. Thomas.
Thank you very much. At about 10:40, the JP's representative for Eastern St. Thomas, Dr. Michelle Charles, was nominated here at the Coke Methodist Church. She arrived with a throng of supporters, but as usual, only 10 people are allowed to enter the nomination center, and that's exactly what happened. Inside, she paid her $15,000. She was nominated. Following that, her father, who was by her side, her father and son actually were in attendance. Her father gave her a kiss after that and wished her the best of luck. After leaving the nomination center, they walked up the street with a massive support going up. It was a festival type atmosphere on the street after she was nominated, and they left here in a jubilant mood. Kirk right here in St. Thomas for TVJ News.
Thank you so much, Kirk. We now go to our reporter Shimala Pullen, who is in Central St. Andrew.
Thank you, Carrie-Ann. So Patricia Duncan Sutherland was nominated as the PNP candidate for St. Andrew Eastern here at Mona High School in St. Andrew. She was surrounded by enthusiastic supporters clad in orange. She received backing from colleague Julian Robinson, a prominent PNP figure and spokesman on finance, as well as her family members. After the nomination process, though, a separate incident occurred when a man riding a bike was hit by a vehicle traveling in the opposite direction. Although it's unclear if he was a supporter, the driver took him to the hospital for treatment, where his condition is currently unknown.
And the man drive come down, but he drive hard, and the other guy are doing thing or come up. We don't even know who. We don't even know the guy if he's on the party or not. And the car just, he might come out of the car way, and the car ended up going a few ways. So he just lick him.
And of course, we will be having the current Member of Parliament, Favour Williams, who will be nominated right here at Mona High School at 12:30 p.m. Reporting from Eastern St. Andrew, I'm Shimela Pullen for TVJ News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister and JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness is expected to be nominated at 1 p.m. Our reporter Andrea Chisholm is on location and now joins us live.
Thank you very much, Carrie-Ann. It has been a party-like atmosphere here in West Central St. Andrew, where a number of PNP supporters have gathered to watch their candidate, Paul Buchanan, nominated for this constituency. Now, this constituency has 3 divisions: Seavright Gardens, Mullines Gardens, as well as Olympic Gardens. Now, earlier, the PNP supporters were here dancing. They were supporting their candidates, and Paul Buchanan has been duly nominated to represent the constituency on the PNP's ticket. Now, Mr. Buchanan, thanks for joining us live on TVJ. This is not your first time at the wicket, but I mean, you lost the election in 2016 in West Rural St. Andrew. Why did you come back? You did not contest it in 2020.
Just remind them that I won in 2011.
Yes.
So, why did I come back? Because the people lost in West Rural. I didn't lose. If you tell the people that you're going to double the minimum wage, they're going to vote for you. I had over 1,000 coffee pickers up in Brandon Hill waiting for doubling of the minimum wage. That if you tell them you're going to give them 14,000 instead of 7,000, they're going to vote. They voted for Andrew Holness and they voted for the JLP. And we are here in 2025, but let us come now to West Central's St. Andrew. This election is about the children. It's about the future. It's about performance. I had 147 solid achievements up there, including new schools, new bridges, new everything, new highways, 2 highways. In 27 years, he has 1 police station down there. And one of the most pernicious things that has been happening is how they have victimized our people. Every time they put on a little thing to make a little money, you understand, the police come and close them off. Nobody goes over Tower Hill. And I'm not against the JLP. The whole of my life, I have embraced everybody. But what I've found here It is wrong. You can't treat one set of people one way. And it's not just the music, it's not just the losses that they have endured. It's not just the victimization.
All right, Mr. Buchanan, I had to cut you there because we're running out of time. Why do you think you can win this constituency? The Prime Minister has been the MP for this constituency since 1997.
There's no performance. There's no preparation. The schools are down. They don't have any equipment in them. The people are sending their children to school. They are sending their children to school and nothing is there. And we have to put education at the forefront. That's why you have the brain drain. That's why you have crime. That's why you have 50 murders in this constituency since the start of the year.
So you're confident of victory?
We are confident of victory.
Thank you very much. That is Paul Buchanan, the PNP's candidate for West Central St. Andrew, which has been nominated to represent the PNP in the 2025 general election. It's back to you in studio.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Over in Mandeville, there was lots of excitement as the PNP candidate for Central Manchester, Donovan Mitchell, was nominated moments ago. Our reporter Anthony Lugg is there.
Thank you. So PNP's candidate Donovan Mitchell just nominated here at the Mandeville Family Court, and as you can see, Mr. Mitchell is still here. I'm going to ask my videographer to pan so you can take a look at Mr. Mitchell as he walks outside of the nomination center. Now, Mr. Mitchell went in, and within minutes, he was out of the nomination center. He will be making his way throughout the constituency, throughout the next few hours, into the next few minutes, and he is insisting that his party will get the victory. Now, we will be in the area. We await the JLP's candidate, Rhoda Moore Crawford, who will be nominated about 12:30, and we will be monitoring the developments here in Mandeville, Manchester, or Central Manchester, rather, and will provide details as they become available.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lugg. Pollster Don Anderson has issued a correction regarding the unfavorability rating of the People's National Party, which was previously reported as 30.9%. The data released on Sunday in the Gleaner showed the PNP's unfavorability rating at 30.9% compared to the JLP's 40.6%. However, speaking on the morning agenda on Power 106 on Monday, Mr. Anderson corrected that figure.
Because in the Gleaner, yesterday's edition of the Gleaner, when it goes through the data, it says it's a 31% unfavorable rating for the People's National Party.
31%. It should be 32%.
It should be 32%. Okay.
32%. All right. Let me just run that number by you very clearly so we can be very sure. For the Jamaica Labour Party, the favorability vis-a-vis the unfavorability rating there's no difference. It's 40.6% given the Jamaica Labour Party a favorable rating as against 40.5%. So there's no difference in how they're perceived on the unfavorability rating. For the People's National Party, 35.4% gave the people.
It is time for a break, but stay with us. We'll have more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It is now time for the Business Minute.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances made net profits of $82 million on revenues of $529 million during the first half of this year. That's slightly below the $83.9 million earned in the similar period last year, and well under 2023's record results of $132 million on revenues of $901 million. The company says it's facing liquidity challenges, with receivables climbing to $158.5 million, 23% higher than last year, as clients take longer to pay. Receivables now represent 19% of the company's total assets. Further afield, flight attendants with Air Canada remained off the job Sunday. That's despite a Canadian government order telling them to return to work. The 10,000 flight attendants began their strike on Saturday, and that forced the airline to cancel its flights. The airline was hoping to resume service on Sunday, but that did not happen. The flight attendants are demanding higher wages and to be paid when planes are grounded. Air Canada says it has offered a 38% increase in pay over 4 years and an hourly raise between 12 and 16% in the first year of the contract. Air Canada says it plans to resume its flights by Monday evening. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Prince Moore.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Trinidad and Tobago opposition leader Penelope Beckles has slammed the government for cancelling this year's Independence Day parade and fireworks. She called the move confusing and unjustified, arguing that such events were held even during past crises like the 2011 state of emergency. Beckles criticized the government's vague reasons, saying the decision ignores the cultural and patriotic value and contradicts claims that crime is falling. On the international scene, President Donald Trump is meeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Washington, joined by several European leaders. This follows Trump's recent summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin, where Trump dropped calls for a ceasefire and instead pushed for a long-term peace deal. A U.S. envoy said Putin may be open to a NATO-style security pact for Ukraine. Trump hinted at major progress but offered no details. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Anthony Atkinson.
And we head to a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.